What's up, guys? How's it going? Welcome back to Atlas Theory. Now, over the last few months, we have seen a huge rise in Star Atlas guilds and the use of this term guild. But that has me wondering now, where do groups like the Bounty Bar and the Hologram fit in? So, a new group is forming called the Star Atlas Business Alliance to really just start this conversation, find out more of what exactly is a Star Atlas business, how will they function within Star Atlas, and what legal frameworks may they need to go through. So today I have brought on two members from SABA, the Star Atlas Business Alliance. I myself am also a member. So we're just going to really just start this conversation. This is kind of a part one. So I hope you guys enjoy. Again, leave any comments or questions down in the description. And yeah, let's get into it. So I have two members with me here of the Star Atlas Business Alliance. Let's just do some quick intros and the businesses that you guys are a part of. Would you like to start us off, Drum Carlos?
Yeah, sure. Well, my name is Carlos, or Drum Carlos. I am part of Deep Profits. In this case, I'm representing Polaris Fuel. Polaris Fuel is a business, or aspires to be a business within the Star Atlas metaverse, that will want to mine, refine, transport, and distribute fuel and the other resources as well. So it's kind of a gas station conglomerate that we want to build with a unified price and a very strict code of how we behave, and we want to offer players fair prices, and we want to be consistent with that. So basically that's who I'm representing for this enterprise right now.
Awesome.
Hey everyone, I'm Kriggs, founder of the Hologram. Our goal is to bring Star Atlas news in a concise and written format, and that's what I'm representing as a business entity here today. We just recently completed LLC filings, as well as finished some contractual arrangements with members of our staff for continued payment for services, obviously using Web2 tools, but I think part of the discussion today will help define and further define how does that look like within the Star Atlas metaverse.
And I think that's really a great place to start with that definition that you mentioned. I think there is, towards the beginning there was a DAC, right? And we had kind of two types of DACs, and the social developer one was one that was like just briefly mentioned, but now we've gotten more into like the terminology of guilds. So I kind of wanted to start a conversation with you guys, like, what is a Star Atlas business? Is it a guild, or is it something else in the Star Atlas ecosystem?
Well, I think the team has given us the impression that they don't consider a business a guild. And for example, a business don't have any way right now to subscribe to be an official entity within Star Atlas. And businesses that have tried to do that, I think, have been found that barrier, because you don't need to be a guild to be a business. Actually, an ideal business should be guild agnostic, or at least the activities performed as a business from a guild should be guild agnostic. So I think it's two different entities, but the line is very blurry right now.
Mm.
I agree, at least on the part that the lines are a little bit blurry. For example, Atlas Theory, right? You have Amarna City, who I believe was accepted as a guild under the Star Atlas Guild registration program, but also you have aspirations to become a entertainment business in Star Atlas and even outside of Star Atlas. And I know you're not the only entity in that boat. There's other entities that are kind of business minded first, but then are also registered guilds. And then conversely, there's some entities that are businesses but are not registered guilds. So what I find interesting, and hopefully to get some clarity on, is how does Star Atlas perceive and adjudicate some of these decisions, because that will help future businesses behind us kind of understand how to shape and mold their organizations and structures to kind of adhere to Star Atlas business compliances and rules in the future. Got it. That this current structure may not be the priority for Star Atlas as they close out 2022 and even maybe into 2023.
Yeah, I think that you really touched on that gray area. I know, like you mentioned, there's a few of us that are like 1 foot in the guild aspect and 1 foot, in this business aspect, and we don't really know which way to, commit fully. Because when I was first looking at all this and wanting to make a city or an entertainment district of some sorts, um, I started to define a Star Atlas business as something beyond the normal um, game loops or the game loops talked about in the white paper and the economics paper. But even that gets, a little bit blurry. So it's something that,
Right.
yeah, we're here, guys, to start a conversation, to reach out and hopefully attract other like-minded individuals who may not be part of a guild, or even if you are, want to start your Star Atlas business beyond that. So what is a Star Atlas business is definitely something that we've been talking a lot about, and hopefully soon we could get a member of the team on to get maybe some more clarity on that. But I wanted to see then, would you guys say that the only kind of mention of a business or something similar would be, well, is it a DAC or is it like that social developer?
Well, this is a point that I think is adding a lot to the confusion, because in the white paper, and if you remember most of last year, there was no talk of guilds. It was talk of DACs, right? And a DAC essentially is a business,
Right.
because it has a token. The strict concept of the DAC should be an autonomous enterprise with rules written in blockchain and a token to represent the power within that group. And I think that's why we saw a change where they stopped calling it DAC and start calling it guild at some point, when they were start taking more seriously that definition. And I think that's part of the confusion, because now a guild is just a social element that could be the social element of a DAC. And a business can be, a DAC with a social element. So that's why it's so confusing.
I agree. From my standpoint, I always like to point to things that are source documentation or in writing to help set a common understanding or a common operating framework from which people have a shared knowledge base from. And so I like to point to Buterin's kind of original publication of defining some of those terms like DAOs and DACs. And to Carlos's point, a DAC is viewed, as a business, but is operated in an autonomous fashion utilizing smart contracts, and that has ownership of assets. And I certainly think that many of the current Star Atlas guilds will evolve to become those DACs. Certainly when I think of a lot of the manufacturing guilds, they want to create business and economic activity around ship manufacturing and ship crafting. I certainly think that those are the prime candidates to evolve into DACs. On the other hand, I also think it's important that Star Atlas retain the nomenclature of guilds, because that is what traditional gamers are very familiar with. I think it touches to the point of like social developers. Some guilds may not be revolved around gameplay. Like, they're MMOs. You can be part of like a role-playing guild, and you guys, determine whatever that structure and purpose of your guild is like and wants to be. So I see room for both terms. I think, from at least my opinion, that it's important for people to use the correct terminology appropriately.
So I've spoken with a few DAC leaders, and some of them are waiting to kind of make an official business. Kriggs, I know you mentioned that you did an official filing. Let's start to kind of explore that. What do businesses need to do to prepare for being a part of the Star Atlas economy?
Yeah. So for me, I'll address the first part of your question as to why we pursued like standard corporation filings is because first and foremost, we had a business plan of wanting to pay some of our staff, and we felt that to be legally recognized, we needed some kind of legal status to do that in a morally and legally sound way. Now, when we talk Web 2 and Web 3, the Web3 model of that, is kind of amorphous, and it still might be a few years out. So for the short term, we deemed it prudent that we should probably, in order to get this started, do kind of a Web2 standard LLC filing to kind of get the ball rolling. And then eventually when Web3 tools become more available to replicate some of these processes, migrate over to those systems. Now, that obviously brings in the question of how does a business integrate into Star Atlas? And I think that's some of the answers we collectively as Star Atlas businesses are looking for, whether that is, do I need to acquire a piece of land in Star Atlas, whether that's a mining land if I'm a mining operation, or some of the social developer lands that have been teased as part of the land packages. And then furthermore, do I need to register with Star Atlas in some way, or do I need developers that are approved to work, with Star Atlas, or got it that's an open source and kind of some of that. But some of these things and processes of integration that should be uniform and standard for anyone trying to apply. Like if I were a brand new business, or if I wanted to start a business, what are steps A through F that I have to do to be fully compliant within the Star Atlas universe?
Yeah, I imagine that's an area that Star Atlas hasn't been too eager to jump in right at the moment while they are creating the fundamentals of the game. Any kind of thing that involves people, connecting wallets to strangers, probably something they have to analyze and think and before they set some rules, because right now they are not setting that in environment. And once they do, and once they did those rules that we need to understand, then they're going to have a little bit more responsibility, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, I'm trying to think of back in the early days when we were theory crafting out Amarna City. Just we really kind of honed in on that SDK that was mentioned. And once we have that standard, I think it's going to run very much like the ship manufacturers, where we can then, using that standard, have blueprints, which I think will need to be submitted to the Star Atlas DAO for approval of a design, possibly. And then probably land ownership. We would need the resources to build out the blueprint. And then from there, we would probably need the polis to govern that area. I don't know. That's just kind of how we originally thought of it. But how are you guys kind of thinking of that process? Just real fast.
Yeah, I don't know what's the separation between what is going to be in-game mechanics and what's going to become a business on its own outside. They're already given with the fabric, they're already given tools to use the marketplace and to be able to pull data and conduct sales through the marketplace. So I'm very interested in see what mechanics they're going to implement as a core into the game, both in the web version and the Unreal Engine 5 version.
I think it's understandable that this might not be a priority for the Star Atlas development team this year, or maybe even next year, just given all the different things that have to be considered when doing and incorporating something like this, right? We're already redefining some of the edges of technology and social definitions. Now we're trying to then further business and economic activity. So I do understand that, it's baby steps in these time. I think the biggest eye opener or point of understanding, at least from my perspective, and the folks from the hologram, their perspective, is understanding what Star Atlas's timeline is for some of these integration points, and that will help inform your respective businesses plans, whether you decide that you need to file an LLC now, or you want to pursue some other business model either now or in the future. And so ensuring that your own business's plan kind of syncs with Star Atlas's vision and timeline. So that way, you're not kind of ahead of the curve and trying to wait on things that might be a year or 2 years out, when there are things you can work on now, even though it might still be in a Web 2 format.
So if we could get those answers today, let's say we could bring on a member of the team, what would be like the top two questions that you would need to really get prepared over the next few years for Star Atlas business?
Yeah, tough question. I think alluded to one of them already, is like timeline and priority. Where does or when does Star Atlas envision some of these things not necessarily being fully fleshed out, but when can we start the process? And then question two is kind of what we've discussed already, is what are going to be some of those requirements? Do I have to register, with the Star Atlas Corporation entity board or whatever? Or, do I have to do XYZ to integrate appropriately and make sure I'm legally recognized? Because just like in the real world, you have legally recognized business entities and you have non-recognized business entities. Being recognized will add credibility and legitimacy to your business. And that kind of also segues into the conversation of, are you a guild? Are you a DAC? Are you a business? Are you all three? Which is it? Having clear defined terms will only reduce confusion, improve efficiencies, and then help the community in general overall.
Yeah, I agree. I think all we need is a legal framework, both in real world and in game, and clear definitions, sooner than later, so we don't waste too much time speculating on things that may or may not happen.
Exactly. Just briefly, for those listening now who love this idea, that want to get started in a Star Atlas business, even though we need all these answers, where can they find, do you think, the Star Atlas Business Alliance, or how could they get involved?
Well, currently the Star Atlas Business Alliance exists just on a Discord server. So I think reach out to any of the member organizations. And I say that even though you can't see me with air quotes, because it's not like a formalized alliance. I know the word alliance is used, but there is no like signing document like the UMA has. We're not on that level. It's just kind of a group of business-minded and oriented people within the Star Atlas community that want to discuss with one another some of the experiences they have, and then some of the answers that someone else might have that some other person doesn't have. And really the purpose of the Star Atlas Business Alliance is to advocate for Star Atlas businesses under one unified voice. So that way we're not asking the same questions over and over, or we can build upon each other's work in some of these areas and help each other out, because someone may have a different experience than what I have, and both experiences are completely valid. To answer who's in SABA, obviously Amarna City, Polaris Fuel, Hologram, Cosmo Hotel, Bounty Bar, basically any almost entity that is not a defined guild. Even some of the guilds are in the Star Atlas Business Alliance. So if you hear or see something that's like, okay, this looks and feels like a business, they're probably in SABA. And if you reach out to them, they can probably redirect you to SABA if you're interested in some of the activities. And by activities, it's just discussion and how do we collectively best engage the Star Atlas team and provide a continuous and clear thought stream of ideas and discourse.
Yeah, basically, I think we're going to do a better job in trying to get the name out there and get, reach out more to the community. But we believe that together we can achieve bigger things in a quicker manner. And if we're all on the same page and when we all put together all the same priorities, I think we have a better chance of succeeding and helping Star Atlas help us.
Well, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope that we got to raise some awareness to the Star Atlas community about the businesses that are a part of Star Atlas. We would love to talk with somebody from the team, as well as jump into some Atlas brews. Now, where can the community watching find you guys?
Yeah. No, hey, thanks for having us. It's always a pleasure talking to you, watching your videos, and obviously you're one of the OG content creators in this space, so it's an honor to be here and actually talking with you, quote unquote, in person, but over the internet. You can find any of the hologram content at thehologram.io. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, so follow us there for your daily written and short Star Atlas news and content.
Yeah, and we'll start a campaign for SABA, so it's easier for people to reach out to us and find us in both Discord and Twitter.
Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I will leave the link to the Star Atlas Business Alliance Discord down in the description. If you are a Star Atlas business owner or thinking of starting your own business, please come join. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button for me. Subscribe for more Star Atlas videos, guys, and we'll keep this business conversation going. I'll see you guys next time.